video we are going to discuss about large intestine. So let us draw the large intestine. This is stomach, right? This is cardiac part, cardiac notch here, right? So this is the pyloric part of the stomach. So from here starts duodenum. Okay. So first part, second part, third part, fourth part of duodenum, everything already we discussed in previous videos, right? So now from the duodenum starts jejunum, which is on left side, whereas if you see ileum, it is on right side, lower side. Okay, so here comes our large intestine now. So this up to this part, duodenum, jejunum, ileum, this three consist of small intestine. Now our topic is large intestine. So large intestine starts from cecum and appendix. Okay, so mainly it starts from cecum here. So here you can see ileum, cecum. Ileum is ending in the cecum. Okay, so this is cecum, this is ascending colon, this is transverse colon, this is descending colon. Okay, and here you have rectum and anus. So this is all about large intestine. So let us mention them. Cecum, this is appendix, this is ascending colon, this is transverse colon, this is descending colon, okay, and here comes rectum, anus. So let us start our introduction on large intestine. Large intestine start is extending from the ileocecal junction of anus. Okay, sorry, ileocecal junction up to anus. So large intestine is from ileocecal junction to anus. Okay, here you have anus. So starting from here till here, this is all about large intestine. Okay, and it is like about in a total 1.5 meter long, and it is divided into cecum, ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon. Here you have one more colon, that is a sigmoid colon. Okay, sigmoid colon, and next comes the rectum, anal canal. Okay, anal canal or anus. So actually in the angle between the cecum and terminal part of ileum, there is a narrow diverticulum called vermiform appendix. This is called vermiform appendix. Okay, now let us see some relevant features related to large intestine. Like large intestine, it's wider, especially in caliber when compared with small intestine. Okay, so if you can see here clearly, this is small intestinal parts, duodenum, jejunum, ileum, they're like smaller. But if you see the large intestine, their lumen is larger, and also their caliber is larger. And the greater part of large intestine is fixed, it is not freely mobile. Even if you see in a small intestine, our jejunum and ileum are movable, but the duodenum is not movable except its last part, right? So coming to large intestine also, it is fixed except for appendix. Appendix is movable, transverse colon is somewhat movable, and also the sigmoid colon. So only these three parts are mobile. So what are those? Cecum is mobile, transverse colon is mobile, sigmoid colon is mobile, and even vermiform appendix is mobile. Okay, other than that, all are fixed in the large intestine. Next, coming to the blood supply of colon, especially if you discuss about the blood supply of the colon, it is by marginal artery. It is derived from the marginal artery. Okay, so now let us start with the cecum, first part of the large intestine, that is cecum. Cecum is a large blind sac which is forming the commencement of large intestine. It is especially situated in the right iliac fossa. So let us start with cecum. Cecum is located in right iliac fossa. So already I discussed the 9 regions of abdomen, so I think you know by this time. So remember, cecum is present in right iliac fossa. You can see here clearly this side iliac fossa. Okay, right iliac fossa about cecum. and above the lateral half of inguinal ligament. It is present above the lateral half of inguinal ligament, and it communicates superiorly with ascending canal medially at the level of cecocolic junction. This is cecocolic junction with the ileum. Okay, and posterior medially it have appendix. So appendix is present posterior medial to the cecum. Next, coming to its dimensions, if you see the dimensions of cecum, it is 6 centimeter long and 7.5 centimeter broad. That is, it is one of the organ in the body which have greater width. It has greater width when compared with the length. Okay, cecum have more width when compared with the length. Okay, next coming to its relations now. So for that we will see one diagram to understand the relations of the cecum. Okay, so if you see this cecum, okay, this is a zoom part of cecum. Let us see the relations. Anterior to the cecum you have the coils of intestine. So anteriorly, this is cecum, so anteriorly you will have the coils of intestine, and also you will have the anterior abdominal wall. For example, my hand is anterior abdominal wall, so if I dissect and remove it, you will see cecum like this. So anteriorly you will have the coils of intestine and also anterior abdominal wall. Okay, and next coming to the posterior relations. So if you see posteriorly to the cecum, you will have muscles like right psoas major muscle. Of course it's not shown here. Let us see this diagram. Okay, relations of cecum, clearly you can see. So this is psoas major muscle, especially right psoas major muscle, which is, you can see this is the outline of cecum. This black color represents the outline of cecum. So posterior to cecum you have psoas major muscle, especially right psoas major, and next you have iliacus muscle. So you can see here clearly this is iliacus muscle. Okay, so two muscles, right psoas major muscle, iliacus muscle. Next you have nerves, like three nerves. You have three nerves. One is the genitofemoral nerve, okay, and the other one is femoral nerve, and here you can see this is the femoral nerve, this is genitofemoral nerve, and the other nerve is lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh. So here this is the lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh. So three nerves, two muscles we have seen till now. And next coming to vessels, there are different vessels like testicular or ovarian vessels, and often external iliac artery on the right side, and also you have appendix in the retrocecal recess. So you also have appendix in the retrocecal recess. Retrocecal means back of like posterior medial side to the cecum. Posterior medial side to the cecum you will have appendix. Okay, so here you can see a gonadal artery, right? That gonadal artery represents a testicular or ovarian artery. So these are the vessels. So what we are talking, all these are relations of, especially posterior relations of cecum. Okay, so in the anterior relations you have just the anterior abdominal wall and some coils of intestine. In the posterior relations of cecum you have two muscles, right psoas major, iliacus muscle, and you have nerves like genitofemoral nerve, lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh, and you have femoral nerve. Coming to vessels, you have gonadal artery like testicular and ovarian arteries, and also you can see iliac branch of iliolumbar artery, and also you will see the external iliac artery, and also you have appendix in the retrocecal recess. So these are the different posterior relations of the cecum. Now let us check out the different types of cecum. Okay, different types of cecum. Okay, so in the different types, the first type you have is conical type of cecum. Okay, and the second type you have is intermediate type of cecum, and the next type you have is ampullary type of cecum. So let's mention, this is conical, this is intermediate, and this is ampullary. So what they mean, let us understand now. Actually the cecum or appendix, they start developing from the cecal bud, and they arise from the post arterial segment of midgut loop. Okay, post arterial segment. So actually in the development there are like different forms on the basis of types of cecum. So first type is conical type. In the conical type it is only in 13% of people where the appendix is arising from the apex of cecum. So if you see the appendix, it is arising from apex of cecum in the conical type. Okay, next coming to intermediate type, here it is present in 9% of people where the right and left cecal pouches are equal in size. So right and left cecal pouches are equal in size, and the appendix arises from the depression between them. So actually you have two pouches, in between that pouches the appendix arises, and this is called as, that's why it is called intermediate, because it is coming between the two pouches. And next coming to ampullary type. Ampullary type is most common among all these types. It is 78% seen in people. So ampullary type is where the right cecal pouch is larger than the left. So the appendix arises from medial side like this. So this is medial side, right? So this is right side, this is left side. Right side pouch is bigger, so that's why cecum is arising from the medial side. This is called as ampullary type. It is 78% most common type. Okay, so now coming to the morphology of cecum. Cecum is like longer in herbivores when compared with carnivores. Okay, and next coming to vessels and nerves. The cecum arterial supply, if you see the arterial supply of cecum, it is from cecal branch of ileocholic artery. Okay, ileocholic artery, cecal branch of ileocholic artery supplies the blood to the cecum. And coming to veins, in which veins it will drain? It will drain into superior mesenteric vein. Okay, superior mesenteric vein. And next coming to the nerve supply. The nerve supply to the cecum is by T11 to L1 vertebra, and this is sympathetic, right? Parasympathetic is through vagus. So arterial supply by cecal branch of ileocholic artery. Veins are the vein by which it is draining is superior mesenteric vein, and the nerve supply is by T11 to L1 sympathetic, and parasympathetic is vagus. So this is all about cecum. Now let us see the clinical anatomy related to it. Cecum is most commonly involved in some diseases like amoebiasis, amoebic dysentery, or in intestinal tuberculosis like ileocecal tuberculosis, carcinomas, inflammation. Okay, inflammation of cecum is called cechitis. So inflammation is called cechitis or typhlitis. Okay, so this is clinical anatomy, that is inflammation of cecum. So carcinoma may occur, amoebiasis may occur, tuberculosis may occur to the cecum. So now let us discuss about ileocecal valve. So what is ileocecal valve? Let us see the diagram. So in this diagram clearly you can see this is the ileocecal valve. So ileocecal valve is the lower end of ileum where it opens on posterior medial aspect of celiac junction. So you can see ileum is opening on the cecum on posterior medial side, means back side, medial side. Okay, so there it is having an ileocecal opening, and that opening is guarded by this kind of valve, and this is called as ileocecal valve. And this ileocecal valve, you have two lips and you have two frenula. So what are these lips and frenula? Let us see. So in this diagram you can clearly see this is the lip, anterior lip, posterior lip, and these are the frenula, right or posterior frenula. This is the left or anterior frenula. Okay, so now let us understand about this lips. The upper lip is horizontal, you can see, and it is lying at ileocecal junction, and the lower lip is longer and concave, and it lies at ileocecal junction. So the two frenula are formed by fusion of lips at the ends of the aperture, and these are left or anterior. Okay, and you have the left or anterior and right or posterior frenula. So the left end of aperture is rounded, as you can see here, and the right end is narrow and pointed. So clearly you can see this right end is narrow and pointed, left is rounded. So left anterior frenulum, right posterior frenulum. In middle you have two lips, one is anterior horizontal lip, posterior is just rounded lip. So this is about ileocecal valve. Now let us see what is the use of this valve. This valve is actively closed by sympathetic nerves and cause tonic contraction of ileocecal sphincter, and it is mechanically closed whenever there is distension of cecum. Like whenever the cecum is full, it is closed so that it prevents the backflow of food from the cecum to the ileum. Okay, so it is just like an you can say gate between the ileum and cecum. That's it. Now let us discuss about this appendix, vermiform appendix. You know, vermiform appendix, it's looking like a worm, like so it's a worm like diverticulum arising from posterior medial wall of the cecum. Okay, it is 2 centimeter below the ileocecal orifice, right? You can see here this is orifice of ileocecal orifice. So it is just 2 centimeters below the ileocecal orifice. This is appendix. Okay. So if you see it is this appendix is longer in children when compared with adults. It will become narrower by the time you come to mid-adult life. And if you see the position, it is also in the right iliac fossa, same like cecum. As the cecum is in right iliac fossa, even the appendix is located in right iliac fossa. Although the base of appendix is fixed, the tip can point in any direction. Okay, so let us see different positions of like cecum. Appendix. Actually, the positions of appendix are based upon like time. They're like, you know, according to the time measurements. The appendix may pass upwards and to the right, and it is called paracolic. If you see here the paracolic or 11 o'clock position, sometimes the appendix will be like 11 o'clock position. This is called as paracolic. And sometimes the cecum or colon, it may lie behind. What they say, it may lie behind the cecum or colon. Sometimes the appendix may lie behind, means back of cecum or colon, and this is known as retrocecal. That's why retrocecal, back of the cecum. It is called 12 o'clock position. Okay, so if you see in the time of clock, 12 o'clock will be like this. This is 11 o'clock. So 11 o'clock paracolic, 12 o'clock retrocecal. This is common, like this is the most common appendix form in like about 65% of people. Okay, next coming to appendix, it may pass upwards to left. It points towards the spleen. As you can see here, this is splenic or 2 o'clock position, and the appendix may lie in front of ileum. You can see, as it is front of ileum, it is called pre-ileal because it is front of ileum, or behind the ileum, then it is called post-ileal. So this is 2 o'clock position or pre-ileal. Next coming to post-ileal, this is also 2 o'clock position, but it will be back of the ileum, so post-ileal. Okay, and next coming to the appendix, it may pass horizontally to the left as it is pointing to sacral promontory, and this is called promontoric or 3 o'clock position. So 3 o'clock position, sorry, it's not shown here. Here you can see 3 o'clock position, this one, right? So this is promontoric, it is towards the sacral promontory. Okay, next you may have like appendix may descend into pelvis. It is called pelvic or 4 o'clock position. So pelvic or 4 o'clock position is like the, you know, appendix is facing towards the pelvic or 4 o'clock position, and this is second most common in 30% of people. Okay, next coming to 6 o'clock position, it may lie below the cecum. You can see below the cecum, subcecal, and may point towards inguinal ligament. So it is called mid-inguinal or 6 o'clock position. So it is towards 6 o'clock time. So just if you know how to see time, I think it's very easy to say this. Once again, let us revise all the appendix positions. First is paracolic, which is towards 11 o'clock. Next is retrocolic, which is 12 o'clock. Splenic 2 o'clock. Promontoric 3 o'clock. Pelvic 4 o'clock. Subcecal 6 o'clock. So just remember this. It is important to remember the appendix positions according to the time and its names. Now let's discuss about the appendix aperture. Okay, where it is located, or you can say it is an appendix orifice. Okay, so appendicular orifice is situated on posterior medial aspect of cecum, 2 cm below ileocecal orifice. So it is 2 cm below. For example, here you have ileocecal orifice. What is ileocecal orifice? It is between ileum and cecum, right? So just below it you will find this orifice of appendix. Next, appendicular orifice is occasionally guarded by semi-luminar fold of mucous membrane called valve of Gerlach. What is it? Valve of Gerlach. Okay. And next, coming to this orifice, it is marked on surface by 2 centimeter below junction of transtubercular. 2 centimeters below, you can see this is transtubercular vein. 2 centimeters below the transtubercular and right lateral planes. Okay. So at that position you have this. Next, coming to McBurney's point, you can see this here. So you can see here, this is the McBurney's point, this is the umbilical region, this is the spinal umbilical line, this is the anterior superior iliac spine. Okay, so this is McBurney's point, which is the site of maximum tenderness in appendicitis. This point lies at the junction of lateral 1/3 and medial 2/3, lateral 1/3 and medial 2/3 of the line joining the right anterior superior iliac spine to the umbilicus. So this point is called McBurney's point. So it is a site of maximum tenderness. Maximum tenderness in appendicitis. Now let us discuss about peritoneal relations of appendix. For example, think this as appendix. Okay, you know it is suspended by a small triangular fold of peritoneum. It is called mesoappendix. Okay, mesoappendix. What is mesoappendix? Which is covering the, like, it is suspended by this triangular mesoappendix, that is a mesoappendix, or also called appendicular mesentery. This fold passes upward behind the ileum and it is attached to left layer of mesentery. Attached to left layer of mesentery. And occasionally the mesoappendix may remain short at the apex. Next, coming to the blood supply of appendix. So let us draw one diagram. This is cecum. Here you have appendix. Okay. So here you have ileum, right? So first you have superior mesenteric artery. This is giving ileocolic artery. Okay. This ileocolic artery is giving 3 branches like this. The first one is anterior cecal artery. Okay. And the second one is posterior cecal artery, and the third one is joining with this posterior cecal artery and also giving branches to appendix. This is appendicular artery. Okay, so now let us see the blood supply to the appendix is mainly by appendicular artery, and which is a branch of lower division of ileocolic artery. It is running behind the terminal part of ileum, enters the mesoappendix at a short distance from base, gives recurrent branch, and it anastomoses with, you can see its recurrent branch is anastomosing with posterior cecal artery, and blood from the appendix is drained by. So now let us see the drainage of blood. Into which veins? From appendix the blood drains into appendicular, ileoscolic, superior mesenteric veins. From here again it will go to portal vein. Okay, so this is venous drainage of appendix. So finally let us see the nerve supply of appendix. It is by T9 and T10 sympathetic, which are coming from celiac plexus. Okay, and parasympathetic nerves from vagus. So referred pain of appendix is at umbilicus, it is felt at umbilicus, similar to that of small intestine and testis. So finally coming to lymphatic drainage. Okay, the lymph of appendix drains into ileocolic nodes. But few of them may directly go to appendicular nodes, which is situated in mesoappendix. So in this video mainly we have covered the cecum, appendix, and some general features of large intestine. So remaining are ascending colon, transverse all the colon up to rectum. So all these parts we'll discuss in next video.